Alright, so the African narratives recently shared this. They says top 20 African countries with the highest electricity generation, ranked by electricity generation in gigawatts hour, including a percentage of continental generation. Alright, so this African time, the name is Vidashi. Well, as you always know, we are mostly here to learn, discuss African news, trending stuffs, issues that actually needs attention, and also most importantly, to learn Africa together. Well, today I'm going to learn about African countries that actually produce the most electricity in the continent right now, okay? And it's actually going to calculate it in a gigawatts per hour that's produced in Africa in a percentage wise. So let's see the African countries that are topping the charts in the top 20 in Africa, shall we? Let's go. So number one on the list is South Africa. It is believed that South Africa produced around 234,850 gigawatts per hour in an hour, though that is a percentage is at 25.9%. Okay, so that South Africa produced 25.9% electricity in an hour. That is 234,850%. Okay, or gigawatts per hour. Number two is Egypt. Egypt is said to produce about 208,739 gigawatts hour. That is 23.1%. Number three is Algeria, producing 91,231 gigawatts per hour. That is 10.1%. Number four is Morocco, producing 42,722 gigawatts per hour. That is 4.7%. And number five is Nigeria. Nigeria is said to believe to produce about 37,915 gigawatts hour in that is 44.2%. Okay, so number six is Libya. Libya is said to produce about 35,106 gigawatt per hour. That is 3.9%. Number seven is Ghana. Ghana is said to believe to produce about 167. That is 23,167 gigawatt hour. That is 2.6% in an hour. Okay, Tunisia is also believed to produce about 21,422 gigawatt per hour. That is 2.4%. Number nine is Mozambique. Mozambique is generate 19.558 gigawatt per hour. That is 2.2%. And number 10 is Zambia, producing 19.475 gigawatt per hour. That is 2.2%. Okay, so that is your top 10 generation countries, the African countries that are actually producing the most electricity in an hour. That is in with their percentage wise. Okay, so these electricity power that we actually mentioned here is what they are being generated in a country in an hour, and it's also being ranked in a percentage wise. Hope you understand this point. Now let's go to the next 10 countries. So at number 11 you have Ethiopia. Ethiopia producing 17,338 gigawatt per hour. That is 1.9%. At number 12 you have Sudan producing 16,539 gigawatt per hour. That is 1.8%. Number 13 is Angola, producing 15,763 gigawatts per hour. That is 1.7%. Number 14 is DR Congo, producing 13,250 gigawatts per hour. That is 1.5%. And number 15, we have Kenya, producing 12,933,000 gigawatts per hour. That is 1.4%. And number 16, we have Cote d'Ivoire, producing 12,460 gigawatts per hour. That is 1.4%. And number 17, we have Cameroon producing 9,974 gigawatt per hour. That is 1.1%. And number 8, we have Tanzania producing 625 gigawatt per hour. That is 1.1%. 19 is Zimbabwe producing 8,706% gigawatt per hour. That is 1.0%. And lastly, at number 20 is Senegal producing 7,549 gigawatt per hour. That is 0.8%. So this right here is your Africa leading power generation or electricity generation in an hour. These are your top 20 African countries, and it's believed that South Africa is actually leading with 25.9%, followed by Egypt with 23.1%. Then we have Algeria, then we have Morocco, Nigeria, Libya, Ghana, Tunisia, and then Zimbabwe or Mozambique and Zambia. These countries are said to be your top 10. Zimbabwe is actually at number 20 though, but your top 10 is from number 10. You have Zambia, Mozambique, Tunisia, Ghana, Nigeria, Libya, Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and the number 1 we have South Africa. So this is how much your country is producing in an hour, the number or the power of electricity they're actually producing in every hour that goes by. Okay, hope you understand this point. This is actually lovely to learn Africa like this. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Again, the African narratives also came and says top 5 by global generation percentage. So we have number 1 is China. China is said to produce about 8,950,643 gigawatt per hour. That is 30.6%. And number 2 is the United States of America. They produce 4,495,368 gigawatt per hour. That is 15.4%. And number 3 is India, producing 1,814,062 gigawatts per hour. That is 6.2%. And number 4 is Russia, producing 1,151,155 gigawatts per hour. That is 3.9% actually. And at number 5 we have Japan, producing 1,018,606 gigawatt per hour. That is 3.5%. So these are our top 5 global ranking or global power generation or electricity generation in an hour form. We have China being number 1, number 2 being United States, number 3 being India, number 4 being Russia, and number 5 being Japan. They also came and says gigawatts hour. That is a unit of energy representing 1 billion watt hours and is equivalent to 1 million kilowatt hours. Gigawatt hours are often used as a measure of output of large electricity power stations. So in International Energy Agency 2022. So this is a source from the International Energy Agency 2022 reports. So how do you see it now? How do you actually see Africa to be? The top 5 global largest power generation are actually doing great. They are actually doing great, producing 1 million power in an hour. In Africa, the highest one is 20,000 per hour. Well, this one came and says it's not a rocket science seeing South Africa top the list. Again, this is with a population of 60 million. Thank you, ESCOM. Well, that is South African though. Another one also says load shedding nearly did a number on South Africa. Nah, this is legit. Well, that is a South African also. This is also, they say this is a huge numbers for South Africa. More than 1/2 of the total generation in Africa. Well, that's so true though. South Africa is actually doing great. That is, they are producing 25% out of the 100% the whole continent. Yep. Yeah, they're actually doing great. Well, this one also says, I'm happy South Africa is number 1. And thank God there's no load shedding anymore. And again, this one also says saying, honestly, expected South Africa and Egypt at the top. Not surprised, quite a gap between them and the others. Okay, yeah, that's so true. Honestly, South Africa and Egypt are actually one powerhouse in Africa. These guys are actually standing up to do a lot of crazy and marvelous things on the continent, okay? So, yep, surely, South Africa and Egypt were not surprising to be at the top 2 of it. So, shout out to South Africa and to every country that was actually present here. And hopefully, Africa can have more countries producing these kind of things for the continent. The name is Rashi, this African time. Thank you for your time.